going through their game preparation, making sure they're fully warmed up for the tip. The Bulls play before the hometown crowd, and we've got it live for you right here from Chicago. And now we take a brief check at the matchups. Our starting five for both teams. And as we take a long look here at Kawhi Leonard, guys, what's your thought on him?
A very encouraging start to Leonard's career, Kevin. He's a tough defender, an excellent rebounder, and his offensive game expanded pretty quickly his rookie season as well.
Expect his offense to continue growing too. His huge hands help him in that regard. Steve, great nose for the ball, high rate of steals, an expert at stripping it away. Looking at Chicago, they took the win in their last game against the Wizards in Washington. And there wasn't much question as to how that game was going to turn out. They absolutely put the hammer down on them.
And if you look at their numbers in that game, what jumps out most is the balance offensively. They really spread the wealth.
And they were on fire in all areas. That was a very satisfying road win. That's a quick foul to pick up here in the opening quarter.
Ginobili outside. Back to Leonard. Shot clock at 5. San Antonio needs to get off a shot here. Parker outside. Offensive rebound, Spurs. That's good.
You got to put bodies on the glass right there. They just are not getting it done on the boards.
Yeah, they've got to do a much better job of going harder than that to the glass.
Well, they're going to learn from someone. They might as well take some lessons from Tim Duncan. That's what Thiago Splitter has done in San Antonio. Really kind of growing up under the tutelage of one of the great players of all time.
And Tim Duncan gets the whistle that time. That is his first foul of the game.
Yeah, you know, these calls can be some of the toughest in the game for the officials.
So fast. I really think that was the right call. The defender was not really set in that situation.
Strong rebounding, and he's rewarded with the easy putback.
And let's get this update now from Doris Burke, who's across the way on the sideline.
I briefly spoke with Tom Thibodeau. I asked him what they needed to key in on defensively, and he said, well, we've got to limit penetration by Tony Parker. He's really the, quote, head of the snake, and with his floater, he doesn't need to get all the way to the rim to score. It's crucial that we do our best to keep him outside the lane. Guys, that's no easy assignment. We'll see how much success they have defensively.
Thanks again, Doris. And Splitter taken 28 by the Spurs way back in 2007. But they had to wait 3 seasons for him to come over from Spain. And as Greg Popovich was saying just this past season, he's finally showing what he can do because he's been healthy.
Yeah, agreed, Kevin. And I think it was a wait worth making, quite honestly. I mean, one of the premier backup centers in the NBA the last 3 seasons. And he earned himself a nice payday with his new contract, too.
Here in the first, just under 2.5 minutes played so far. They get it back. Rose. And he banks into it. Rose has got 6.
You know, they've scored several times already here in the first quarter down low. I like that.
Yeah, me too, Clark. I think anytime you have success pounding the ball inside, you got to continue to go to the well.
Ginobili, defended by Butler. Ginobili off a pick from Splitter. Elbow shot is on the way. And the Spurs scoring again.
Tell you what, I can't argue with the result, but a little unnecessary to go to the off-balance shot there. A dramatic improvement for the San Antonio Spurs defensively last season, guys. Coach Pop had suggested that they might have gotten too old to be an elite defensive team anymore, but that wasn't the case. I think he challenged them a little bit, and they raised the bar of their defensive performance.
And the basket by Rose.
That's just run-of-the-mill for him. A typical day at the office. He's one of the more skilled offensive players out there.
Parker dishes to Ginobili. And the 3 off target. And Clark, you mentioned the defensive improvement of the Spurs. Going into last season, their stat gurus told them they needed to focus even more on contesting shots, even if that meant committing more fouls or allowing more offensive rebounds.
Well, that's exactly what they did. They gave up a few more offensive rebounds, fouled slightly more than the prior season, but they were better in terms of shot blocks, steals, and they held their opponents to a lower field goal percentage. So, a great example of getting an edge from advanced stats.
Well, we've got a moment to look back at last year's Bulls. 8th in rebound, 8th in assist. And they were top 10 in free throw percentage. That's always helpful in winning games.
And what stands out to me, Clark, with what you just talked about is the rebounds, because this is a very physical team. They like to try to bully their opponent. They both ends of the floor. On the defensive glass, they were excellent. And then offensively, on missed shots, they really got after it and tried to get second chance wins.
So it's the Spurs now after the Bulls pick up 2. Ginobili off a pick from Splitter. Ginobili the pass to Parker. Can't get it to go. Some solid defense from Rowe. Right side, Butler. And the defense didn't have position. They whistle a blocking foul, and he'll go to the line.
Kevin, his defensive abilities really set him apart. I think he's one of the league's best defenders.
You know, the saying goes that great defense beats great offense, but great defense is more consistent. That shooting touch can come and go, but he's not going anywhere.
Here's what San Antonio's going with right now. Jeff Pendergrass checking in for Splitter. Maggette comes in for Tim Duncan. And it's Green in for Kawhi Leonard. Here's Mills. 19 seconds left in the first quarter. Now here's Heinrich. Back to Butler. Gibson inside. Just floating to the rim on that slam.
Boy, when he gets up and stays up.
Boy, smooth and graceful. How about the hang time? That's impressive.
And here's Mills for 3. Offense, the order of the day as the first quarter comes to a close. Bulls out front. They lead by 5.
Tune in next Thursday, December 12th. Ty Lawson and the Denver Nuggets take on...
And the first quarter is in the books. About ready to get underway. Looking at what we've seen from the Bulls, what do you guys think?
And it's really been a dominant effort on the glass. That's been the key here.
Yeah, they've established nice low post presence, which always tends to help you on the rebounding battle.
And a chance here presented by Gatorade to see who's on the floor. Oh, you're welcome. Ready to go for the start of the second quarter. On the floor for San Antonio, we've got Green. Jeff Pendergrass out there with Maggette. Then there's Bellinelli, and it's Mills in at the 1 spot. And Pendergrass gets to Green. He passes to Bellinelli. And he can't answer back. The three-pointer offline.
Well, Luol Deng, an all-star for the second straight time in 2013. You know, the numbers don't jump off the page at you, but boy, is he tough and consistent and productive. He's a big part of why the Bulls remain one of the top teams in the East.
And let's catch up with our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, over to you.
Well, fellas, Greg Popovich, known for his sarcastic, sometimes contemptuous answers to some of the questions from us media members. He said it seems to entertain everyone but his wife. She tells him to cut it out, be a grown man, and show some maturity. But he said, I can't. I simply can't do it. Guys?
Yeah, he's a piece of work, isn't he? Thank you, Doris. And for Dan Clark, and you mentioned this, his number's not that gaudy, but his shooting percentages were down last season. Steve, did that surprise you?
Well, a little bit, but, you know, he had the injured wrist, but I think most importantly, Derrick Rose wasn't there to help him out offensively. But what you love about Deng is he's there every night. He plays about 40 minutes every single night, all defensive team, versatile contributor. So I don't think the numbers always tell the story for Deng.
Clark, they've been struggling here on offense.
Yeah, a little bit of cottonmouth here. Dry spell for sure.
Green kicks to Pendergrass. And Gibson sends it down. Heinrich outside. Gibson setting the pick for Heinrich. Butler on the way. Back to Heinrich. And he can't extend the lead to double digits.
Boy, that's a warm-up jumper there. I mean, when you're a pro, you can't make excuses for missing that one.
Pass to Joseph. Now the feed to Jacoby. It's good from long range.
Oh, he's going to keep banging those home if you give him that much space.
Heinrich with it. Heinrich on the pick from Gibson. Heinrich dishes to Gibson. And that one's good.
Coach Popovich was fine last season for sitting out his top players in a nationally televised matchup against the Heat. I certainly understand the league's posture there, and it was a lot said about it. Yet, for a veteran team like the Spurs with championship aspirations, I understand resting key players during the course of the regular season.
Looking at who's out there now for the Spurs. Splitter's checked in for Pendergrass. And it's Duncan in for Daniel Green. There's Derrick. And out of bounds as the Bulls gain possession. And here are the top free throw shooting teams this month. You don't want to put these guys in the line too often. In fourth, the Spurs. Number 5, the Bulls.
Kevin, we'll find out which of these squads is better by the end of the year. But right now, they're both consistently good. I mean, both teams seem to have settled down, and they're taking their time at the line, and it's paying dividends.
Heinrich passes to Moore. Good D by Parker. And back to that fine for Popovich, $250,000. Steve, that'll leave a dent.
Yeah, no doubt. But, you know, Popovich enjoys tweaking the league at times. This was clearly an effort to do that. But, look, I think it's good for him to actually kind of let the league know every once in a while that if you're going to give us that kind of schedule with my older team, I'm going to sit them down once in a while.
Off his foot, and the ref saying he kicked it. And the Spurs with some changes. Kawhi Leonard's checked in for McGinn. And it's Ginobili in for Deco. Here's Rose.
Come get it, come get it.
Here in the second quarter, just under 3.5 minutes played. Shoots off the screen, and he connects with the jumper. Rose has got 10.
That's why teams emphasize the use of screens and picks just to get you some open looks like that one.
Duncan drawing the double team. Parker kicks to Splitter. He feeds it to Duncan. Dishes it to Ginobili. Just 5 on the clock. No luck. Some solid defense from Rose. Let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, what do you have?
Guys, Tony Parker summed up his role this way. Quote, the last 2 or 3 years, it's become my team. Pop is challenging me to become the franchise player. On Tony Parker's greater role, Tim Duncan says, quote, the load has switched over to him. It's a big thing, and he's handled it great. Guys, he's delivered one of the top 10 players in the league last year.
That's right, Doris. Thanks.
Well, Pop and the team really believe in him. They trust him, and he's rewarding that trust.
Drop that one in as soft as a feather using the finger roll.
Noah with a screen on Parker. Rose dishes to Heinrich. It's good. This time the assist from Rose. And the Bulls lead by 12.
The defenders need to talk to each other. The communication lacking there on that three-pointer.
Rose against Parker. Leonard on the wing. Into Tim Duncan. And he goes in for the dunk.
You know, he may lack grace, but his length makes up for it. He can still throw it down there.
Well, you don't have to be a fantastic leaper when you're his size.
It's too bad because with a little more athleticism, can you imagine how dangerous he'd be underneath the boards?
And that's out of bounds. Chicago will retain possession.
Yeah, so close to picking that pass off, guys.
At least he got a hand on it. He did what he needed to do to make sure it didn't hit the target.
Here's Rose. Again, Chicago.
They ran that inbounds play perfectly there to get the quick hit.
That'll do it for the first half. Bulls lead by 12. And get ready now for the Sprint Halftime Show with Damon Bruce. The second half will be coming up right after that on 2K Sports.
Now, presented by Sprint.
With a few games of the new season, the Mavericks.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
And arguably no greater sporting legend in Chicago history than Hall of Famer Michael Jordan as we see the statue erected in his honor. A fantastic game from Derrick Rose in this one.
Yeah, he tore it up on the offensive glass in the first couple of quarters. Love the effort you're getting out of it.
Incredibly persistent, which is what it takes to be a successful offensive rebounder. I should know. I used to eat a lot of glass in my day.
D. Rose and Jimmy Butler at the back. Dang and Boozer, they make up the forwards. And it's Noah in at the pivot spot, manning the middle. So that's how Tom Thibodeau starts the second half with.
Boozer had his name floated around at the trade deadline last season, guys. there were a number of teams that were very interested in having his physicality and scoring ability down low.
Leonard with the ball. He's picked up by Dang. Ginobili against Noah. Knocked loose. Now here's Ginobili. 8 points for him. Lets it go. Rebound by Butler. Butler's got 3 rebounds.
Tell you what, he's going to put that one in his scrapbook. Absolutely insane with that number.
Now they're starting to rub it in. They have build up a lead, and here we go, folks. It's your time.
And why not? I mean, the more plays they make like that, the more they'll have these guys on the road.
And a brief look now at the best rebounders from the point guard position over the past month. Fifth best, Derrick Rose.
And it may not be the first thing you think about, but if you look at a lot of the all-time great point guards, rebounding was always a big part of their game.
Yeah, I think that's true, Steve. It's not a necessary attribute for a point guard, but the ability to rebound is something that took a few of the greats to another level entirely, and it helps your team, too. They're forcing the ball inside, and it's working beautifully.
Yeah, the defense has been futile. 5 of the last 6 field goals in the lane.
Boy, I tell you, the Bulls showed how resilient they could be without Derrick Rose last season. They played competitive basketball, but up against the Western Conference, they just didn't quite have the same punch. Got beat up pretty good out west.
And back to the Bulls against the West. Not sure what exactly their shortcomings were, but in the end, Steve, they were only able to win 11 games out of the 30 they played out of conference.
You know, the Bulls were a team that could win games on grit and toughness, but the West was a lot more talented last year than the East. And so some nights Chicago just kind of ran into reality. They didn't have enough talent to deal with some of those Western teams.
Duncan kicks to Splitter. Working on Noah. Feeds to Parker. Parker, right side. Gets it to go. Parker's got 10 points in the game.
You know, if you were only looking at the way he's played offensively, you'd think his team would be ahead.
Rose attacking. He sinks the 11-footer. And the Bulls lead by 14.
He's been one of their more reliable options today, guys. I mean, his shooting has led them to this lead.
Backing him down is Duncan. And so he draws the foul on the shot on trip to the line to shoot 2. Now one on Rose. San Antonio shooting their first free throws here tonight.
Well, this is a good free throw shooting team a year ago. They hit about 79% of their free throws as a unit.
You can't take those numbers lightly, fellas. I mean, their free throw shooting made a difference for them in a lot of their games last season.
And the Spurs making a change here. Pendergraft has checked in. Hoosier with the screen for Rose. Outside Butler. Back to Rose. The 11-footer. That one wide left. Spurs trail by 12.
Guys, Derrick Rose is a native son of Chicago, and he grew up in the dangerous Inglewood neighborhood, the youngest of 4 brothers. But from very early on, his talent for the game was apparent. Those older brothers of his, they shielded him and protected him like an ember of hope for the entire family. And he certainly has allowed his light to shine brightly.
And Clark, back to Rose, the city of Chicago, as you expected, has embraced him. It's interesting, Steve, to be a high pick, but drafted by your hometown team. The pressure is pretty interesting.
I love at the United Center when they introduce him, they just say, from Chicago, Derrick Rose. With all the attention he gets, he's a very private and reserved person. Has a lot of respect amongst his teammates because he just handles himself with such class.
Parker kicks to Splitter. Knocked away. And that will be San Antonio as it goes out of bounds. Spurs retain possession.
Well, let's see the stat sheet here on Tony Parker. Coming off an excellent season last year, 6th in assists. And he was also a top 20 shooter from the field, so really a nice all-around offensive year for him.
Steve, you think about all of the assists he racked up to get into that top 10. He's a guy who always played with his head up, and he was a willing passer who was looking to make the pass at all times.
Tim Duncan has checked in for Jeff Pendergraft. And Noah with the block. It's good. This time the assist from Rose. 11 points for Butler.
Another pass put right into the shooter's pocket, right in the shooting pocket for a terrific assist. They've done a lot of that today.
Yeah, it's something we haven't seen much of at the other end of the floor.
Mills passes to Ginobili. And they wasted no time getting those 3 points back. Ginobili's got 11 points.
Right back at you. Immediately get those 3 points back.
Trading punches, that's how you answer.
And 2 free throws coming up as he misses that one. Drawing the whistle and a lot of contact there. Tim Duncan picks one up.
You know, the Spurs really have a cohesive culture, and part of that is something that Greg Popovich has been able to do, and that's being able to join guys together that normally might not hang out. For instance, you had Matt Bonner taking Steven Jackson out to a Coldplay concert last season. One way to help guys get to know each other off the court, and it helps them on the court.
Corey Maggette, he's checked in for San Antonio. And here's Mills for 3. It's all in by the Bulls. Butler's got his 4th rebound in this one. Following this one, they get to host the Cavaliers. And that will be the middle game of this 3-game homestand.
I'll tell you what, guys, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that Cleveland game turns out.
Shot's good by Mills.
That is a terrific effort on the shot. He's giving up a lot of size, but still finds a way to score.
I don't think that affected him in the least, though, Steve. I mean, he made it look like he was the bigger guy.
Rose dishes to Noah. The kick out to Rose. And that one's good. Rose has got 10 points in the quarter.
They've had the hotter hand in the first half so far, no question.
It's because of all the high percentage shots they've been working for and getting.
And as we end the 3rd quarter, a double-digit deficit will make it tough to come back. It's Chicago up by 16. And we're coming right back. Be sure to stay with us as we get started for the 4th quarter.
The NBA season blasts off. LeBron James and the Miami Heat take on Rudy Gay
And thanks again for joining us. Let's see what happens here in the 4th. And guys, let's get your take on the scoring breakdown for the Bulls.
Well, the great passing we saw in the first half has carried right over into the second.
They've consistently drilled the mid-range jumper tonight as well, which has forced the D to come out on them.
On the court for San Antonio, the guards, Parker and Bellinelli. To get it out there is Splitter, and it's Leonard in at the small forward position.
You know, you survey other point guards in the league and ask them who their toughest assignment is, and a lot of them will tell you it's Tony Parker. And his ability to weave in and out at the speed he does just drives would-be defenders mad over the course of 4 quarters. Parker is always in attack mode.
Joakim Noah, he's checked in for the Bulls. And Clark, you mentioned the penetration ability of Tony Parker. He really has become the focal point of the Spurs drive and kick offense, Steve. So fun to watch.
Yeah, you talk about his speed and quickness, but it's really all about the overall skill level, the ability to finish in the lane, the knockdown jump shooting, the free throw shooting also improves it. It's incredible how well-rounded Parker has become.
Is he the fastest point guard, you think, in the NBA?
I would say yes.
Well, it was the San Antonio Spurs in their last game, a loss to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Kevin, that game defensively was an absolute nightmare. They went into that building and just got blown out by a very hot team.
Well, they didn't defend those shooters like they should have, and once the fans got into it and the arena started rocking and thumping and bumping, things only got worse. Seems like every year, guys, you look at Tony Parker and he's found something else to add to his game. He's always improved.
Spurs making the switch here. Duncan's checked in. That one misses for Splitter. This season for Tony Parker, arguably his best game. 20 points a game, almost 8 assists. 52% Steve from the field. There's even talking mid-season about maybe MVP consideration.
Well, his ability to score inside around the rim is amazing, but he's also become a master of knocking down the jump shot from that 15 to 18-foot range. But really, this team has been built now around Parker. The offensive strategy completely tailored to suit his talents.
Rose, double team. Dang. Back to Rose. Pass to Heinrich. From past the arc. It's good. This time the assist from Rose. A
Splendid pass that time by Rowe.
Jimmy Butler is jumped in for Kirk Heinrich. About a minute and a half into the fourth quarter now. Parker against Rose. Parker outside. Dang against Spaghetti. Back to Parker. Great defense that time from Noah.
Boy, they really dominated on the glass, and of course they've done a lot of good things here tonight. Rebounds have played a major factor.
Hey, Steve, you know rebounding always one of the key barometers in determining the victory.
I'll tell you what I love about him. His ability to finish even while absorbing contact. He is so strong. Even with defenders hanging all over him, he continues to finish at the basket.
And he also is incredibly adept at running pick and roll. He almost always makes things happen when he instigates that play. You know, one of the things that's really hard to do in the NBA, it's actually one of the hardest things to do in the NBA, is to stay in front of Derrick Rose. I mean, it's not just his burst of speed or his quick first step, but he's got one of the meanest, nastiest, filthiest crossovers in the entire league. And then you add his strength and explosiveness in the air with that, that's lethal.
Ginobili against Butler. Now here's Ginobili. He's guarding closely. And Collin, 2 points with a chance for 1 more at the free throw line. It's going to send Manu Ginobili to the free throw line. That's on Joakim Noah. And for Rose, as he returns from his knee injury, you wonder how that'll affect his ability to blow by a defender, which is such a great quality he possessed prior to the injury. Shooting from the outside is solid, but he hasn't been elite to this point in his career with that shot, so there's a lot of unknown still about his game for being so young and unexpected.
It's going to be an adjustment, Kevin. I mean, you have to find your confidence after an injury like that. I think he is going to be a better shooter because there was one thing he could work on while he was out. It's that outside jump shot. But we got to give him some time to get his confidence and find his game.
That's some physical basketball out there. I'm glad I'm not in the middle of that. The hard pick and the assault on the bus.
Old school stuff there.
There was a lot to like on that one.
And Noah with the block. And it's out of bounds to the Spurs as San Antonio retains possession. A different look now for San Antonio. Jeff Pendergraft's checking in for Splitter. Green comes in for Corey Maggette. And it's Bellinelli in for Manu Ginobili. 1:51 left to play in the final quarter. And Joseph kicks to Green. Lets it go from 14. Outside Rose. Gibson inside. A steal. Here's Bellinelli, guarded by Heinrich. Bellinelli passes it to Joseph. He kicks it to Duncan. Working on Boozer. Fires from deep. A shot by Bellinelli. No good. The Bulls leading by 21. Now Rose. Back to Gibson. Outside Rose. The dish to Gibson. The kick out to Rose. Rose double team. Just 4 to shoot. The pass to Heinrich. Rebound San Antonio. And going against Chicago, their first meeting of the season.
Remember, they won both games against this club last season, which was, I think, one of the highlights of the year.
Outside Rose. Kicks it to Gibson. Back to Rose. Gibson setting the pick for Rose. Gibson inside. Outside Rose. The Bulls need to get a shot off here.
They're going to walk out of here with a win and set this crowd home happy.
A very solid performance in a lot of areas for them.
And the foul on Derrick Rose. That's his 3rd foul of the game. "17 seconds left to play here in the 4th. Green dishes to Joseph. Looked away. And so Chicago takes this one and by a big...
have taken back this moment. These words I spoke. I should have taken back this moment. These words I spoke, I know it. Now I can see clearly. I folded, I shouldered too much weight. I hold in too much pain, and it destroyed me, and then rebuilt me, and now it can feel me. It follows me everywhere I go, but it can never break me. Now I know I was lying to myself back then, but the truth was always bleeding out my pen. I fade back to myself in the end. I'm just one step away. I ascend, I climb that faded staircase of sin. I'm reaching in vain just to hold on to them. Once again, the memories seem to blend. My enemies and friends seem to vanish in the wind. One step closer to your dreams. Does it mean everything in between where you are right now and where you wanna be? Must suffer for the cause like it ought to be. Me against the world in apostrophes. You look around like